Hello lovely folks, okie dokie. Okay, 2 games left of the season. Of course, the third remaining game was Preston North End versus Blackburn Rovers at home, Lancashire derby, all that lovely stuff. Of course, the away game was very good, we beat them 4-1, but the home game was not within the same cinematics, unfortunately, but let's go through it, shall we? Alrighty, the first half saw neither team entirely up for it, but Blackburn was definitely the better attackers as they made one good effort and had a goal ruled for offside. Second half saw the action as Blackburn had a controversial handball ruled out and later went on to score a legal goal, keeping pressures high until P&E forced an own goal on them in the closing stages of the game to make it level. And before we continue, we'd like to just give a thought and a prayer for Brad Potts, who was absolutely robbed of goal of the season last night. Well, it's actually Monday, so yeah, last night, Sunday night, he was robbed, and they gave it to, I think it was Ismail Assar's halfway line strike instead, which didn't even win goal for the month that it was on. It was beaten by Brad Potts, so yeah, Potts was absolutely robbed of the goal of the season. But yeah, anyways, enough EFL fixing, let's talk about what's going on, shall we? So 13 shots for us, 4 on target, 9 for them, 3 for them, which makes it look like that we were actually the better side attacking-wise, and to be honest, we probably were. We did have quite a few decent efforts, and the 4 that were on target were good efforts, in all fairness. You know, their keeper did well to save it, so yeah, no, I think we did decently well. But only in the second half. The first half we didn't entirely look switched on, but we'll go over that in just a moment or so. We'll take a look at the player ratings first, as we normally do. So let's get it on. Woodman a 6, palmed that person's strike away in the first half. Couldn't do much about Schmoddick's well-placed finish. Kicking a tad hit and miss. Yeah, fair enough. Story a 7, solid first half shift, always switched on, block clear and intercept consistently. Dealt well with the threat of Dolan down the left flank. Rover second half subs caused him and his teammates more problems. Bauer an 8, Bauer fantastic. Steady away on his second championship start, ready. Red played well and kept his game nice and simple. The space opened up once he went off, but P&E were pushing for a winner. And I'll talk about that decision in just a moment. Hughes a 6, assured in his work first half. It showed in his first half work, sorry, but he put a foot wrong and sniffed out danger. Didn't cover himself in glory for the goal. Potts a 6, a typically committed shift, tried to push on and support P&E's attacks, but it was to no real avail. Blazer shot over in the first half after a space opened up and it was a terrible miss. Onoma a 6, worked hard in the middle of the park and teed Ken up for his first half opportunity, drifted in and out of the match. Whiteman an 8, yeah, he was fantastic. Anchor play efficiently enough first half and was clever with his passing, so a couple of efforts from distance kept out. Massive interception at the start of the second half to deny Schmoddick a scoring chance and put in a few important last-ditch tackles. When the game started, I was sceptical at first of Whiteman. I thought he was going to have another game like he did against Swansea based on what I was seeing from him for the first 10 minutes, but after that he became a complete and utter saviour for us that game, so yeah, all the credit. Johnson a 6, kept looking for the ball and ran hard but couldn't have the desired impact. Alvaro a 7, his driving runs forward were crucial for P&E, carried a threat down the left and sent his fair share of low crosses. He was the only one to really carry it that many yards, to be honest. Parrott a 6, never gave the Rovers backline a moment of peace, was just waiting for the golden opportunity, which never came. Cannon a 6, had half chances in and around the box, but a Rovers man always seems to get there to get a foot in, so an early effort trickled just wide. A frustrating afternoon for him probably, which yeah, probably was. Yeah, you could definitely tell their game plan was to just deny Cannon at all times. Substitute McCann, 6, put himself about once again, so late shot saved by Piers, very good save. Woodman a 6, introduced from the bench, 15 minutes to go, tried to provide an edge in the final third, but was tough. But at least he actually tried to get into the box or whatever else and have a go, rather than just giving away a foul as soon as he comes onto the pitch, so at least he did better than he normally does. Delap a 7, it was his drilled low cross which led to the equalising goal, and he did well to get himself in the position and deliver. However, but when you look at it back, it's blatantly obvious that's not the intent. He's probably trying to pick out Cannon and puts in a ball that wasn't ideal, and we just got very lucky. I'm not going to complain about it, but It certainly wasn't the intent, and if people try and tell you it was his intent, he's not part of that very old Man United squad that tried to force them upon defenders every now and then. It's difficult to defend against something like that. I can see that from a perspective, but it's certainly not what Delap intended to do. I'd be very surprised if it was, and I'd applaud him for it, but I'm positive it probably wasn't. Okay, Gaffer's reaction. Another performance on point. I thought it was two local rivals fighting it out to get 3 points and sustain a playoff push. I thought we edged quite a bit in the first half and could have gone a goal up if we'd got on our shots away earlier and had a bit more quality. Then obviously they make changes at half time, bring two quality players on, and it disrupts us. But if we'd got the ball forward a bit and sustained attacks, we'd have opportunities to score. Lo and behold, they break it up, slide one down, who cuts inside, Shimonik cuts inside when we wanted to keep him outside, and great finish. But what I will say is the character that the lads shown on numerous occasions for me, they give it every time. They're not doing it just for me, they're doing it for the club, so credit where credit is due. They keep fighting until the end, and that's what I'm pleased about. If you can't win, don't lose. We looked at the league before we went in to see the players, and Marshy said, right, let's go win, and if you can't win, don't lose. That is certainly what they did. They have good players, their interchanges in the midfield are a bit like a Swansea type, who causes problems. Okay, I know there are local rivals, but they have good players, and that's why they've been at the top end all season. On the never say die attitude, I said to John at half time to get all the food supplements and get them into them to give them an energy boost. We got back late from Swansea, add them into recover, and we've hardly done any training. In a derby like this, for them to keep going until the end and get that equaliser, which feels like 3 points for us, is credit to the players. I had to make changes because of a few bumps and bruises. We will go again. I can't thank the players enough and the staff. If you had said we'd have an opportunity with 2 games to go to potentially get in the playoffs, we'd have bitten your hand off. So to keep going until the end, we now have 2 massive games against 2 top teams, but we'll keep fighting right until the end. On the substitutes, we took Bauer off and went for a back 4, 4-2-3-1. We then put Woody on, so I probably think that's Woodburn on one side. Put Josh in the 10 and Troy on the other side. Then we took Josh off and put Liam on for his pace and power. And then Ali DJ has been immense for us, playing all the games. Josh tiring towards the end, so the subs were made for tactical reasons, but also because players from the red zones where they can potentially injure themselves. And also to go for it, there was no point in losing. There was also no point losing. Before their goal, we had changed it to get 4 strikers up the pitch, which paid off in the end. But you could also argue it cost us a goal. On the fans, when you have local rivals down, you can hear the noise. The fans and our fans were back and forth. They were brilliant. Our fans showed their appreciation to the players, and I think because the players did it, I made them go around and clap. To go from a goal behind where we thought it was a kick in the teeth, and then to go and have that character, we really believed we could do that, and the crowd played a big part. On the fatigue, you could see it. Onomo was tired last week and had a tight groin. We left him out for the Swansea, and he came. That's okay, so that's why. And he came back in and showed his quality. But again, he's going to be stiff and tired. DJ will tell me he could have kept going, but you can see the fatigue. That's not just them. Some lads will take a bit more time to recover. Hughesy could barely walk yesterday, but we walked it through some patterns of play with them. I'm just pleased with the desire to keep going, and adrenaline gets you through it sometimes. On Bauer, he's had to wait patiently, but his attitude and application for at least 10 months has waited for that opportunity. I felt it was right time to give him a chance. He was fantastic, and that is what Bauer does. He's a credit to himself, his family, and to Preston and North End. We speak on a daily basis. He's always in my eye line. He is there, and I just felt that with Bambo getting those games banned, which was pathetic, by the way, it had to be an opportunity for him. I couldn't have slept if I'd not given it to him. He's had to wait, and he's done extra sessions and played in bounce games, but fair play to him, he's gone out there, he's put his body on the line and played excellently. He did a tackle towards the end and cramped up a bit, but I think that's what you get out of Bauer. It's a great song they sing. They show their appreciation to Patrick, and the fans were excellent. Yeah, fair enough, that sounds about right. Of course, taking Bauer off, if it was for injury reason, which fair enough it was, then yeah, you have to understand that. But also in taking Bauer off and shortening that defensive line a bit, and taking out our best defender of the day, it allows them to get past us a lot easier, and that's what they did, and that led to them scoring. We got very fortunate to score in the end. I know you could say we bring on 4 forwards to try and get a goal in, but then at the same time, having those 4 forwards, none of them really had any good opportunities. We had a very big stroke of luck at the end to get that own goal. So it did pay off, yes, but it nearly didn't. And if it didn't pay off, the song we'd be singing right now and the interview would be very different. So yeah, it's nice that we did manage to pull it back for a point to keep us alive, but at the same time, it still could have gone very, very horribly wrong. Okay, so quick look at the table. 63 points for us, 63 points for West Brom, Blackburn 65, Millwall 65, Sunderland 65, and Coventry 66. No point looking at the top 4 because they're not catchable. So if you think about it, if we win our next 2 games to get us to 69 points, Okay, and West Brom do the same, 69 points, then we're not going to get nowhere. If Blackburn win their next game, 6, 7, 8, and then they draw, then of course 69 goal difference, they've got a better one. Everyone's got a better goal difference than us. So if teams from 5th all the way down to 9th win at least one game and one draw, we're not getting the playoffs. But then if these teams lose one game, then it's a different story if we win both. I don't think we're going to get away with it if we don't win both. That's the do all and end all. You even look at teams down here, they can't really catch us, to be honest, unless we lose and whatnot. But I still do reckon we'll end up maybe drawing one game and winning the other one, and we'll finish in 9th, just like I predicted at the start of the season, which I'm going to go over those predictions when the season is finished, by the way. But yeah, until then, that's how it's currently standing, and that's the only way we're making the playoffs. If we win them both and every other team loses at least one of them. But if you look at the forthcoming fixtures, of course, Coventry have Birmingham and then Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough, a difficult game. Birmingham, not so much. Then you look at Sunderland. Obviously, they've got us, and then they've also got Watford. Watford are a team that's stumbling at the minute, so you could argue they could maybe take points. Millwall's fixtures, they've got Blackpool, which is a free win. They're going to send them down for us. And then Blackburn on the last day of the season. And provided those two teams draw with each other, it leaves our spot wide open. But it also, you could argue the same for Sunderland, because we play Sunderland. And with West Brom, they're playing Norwich and Swansea, two teams that are absolutely trailing the top 10. So again, it's a very funny situation that we're in, that we have to rely on these results. And half of these teams bouncing between each other and having that fight with each other to get there as well. It's going to be difficult, I'm not denying that, but it's possible, and that's what we're going to keep hoping for. And if we can't, we're going to look back on the season with a bit of, respect and in a good light, because it's been as many downs as we've had this season. If you look at it and you think about it, we've had a good season. We're 2 points outside the playoffs right now as it is. It's reminding me a lot of Alex Neil's first season in charge, where we finish in 2 points outside the playoffs, and that could happen again. But like I said, it is what it is. But points to make, the playoffs are doable, and it's a must-win for the next 2 games. And it's clear to see that the lads are beginning to get a bit more fatigued as well. So the break of the season is going to help them. Pros, we were determined to get back in it, and cons, select players having poor moments. But that's about all I could pick out, really. So fingers crossed things go our way and we can get some ground made, because if we make the playoffs and sneak into them, that'd be phenomenal. But of course, we're not going to keep our fingers crossed, and we are going to keep our fingers crossed, but we're not going to keep our bets on. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all at the weekend for when we discuss Preston North End versus Sheffield United.